Hey everybody, welcome back to Koali Beach. I'm here today with Keralis
Hey guys.
and Lady Designer.
Hi guys!
And what I'll be doing in this episode is mostly work on a new wooden coaster. This is going to be the first ride of the park, and work a bit on the station, some of the surroundings around it, and also the transfer track, and basically get this wooden coaster into such an extent that the Lady Designer can next week just go on with the rest of the park, and hopefully everything will come together quite neatly, because this is quite close actually to what we've built earlier. It's right next to the lake that we have right here, which Keralis built his super awesome huts on. I really love them. He's been a little bit insecure about them himself, but seriously, there's no need for it. They are really cool. And
Absolutely not. I love them.
did you?
Although the lake is not purified yet, it's gonna be better, I guess. But
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for
but-
sure. Hopefully, like,
time.
what we've sort of been thinking about, what we've been brainstorming about a little bit is like how we're gonna pull everything together, you know, because the big challenge is, of course, if you're building a park with multiple people, you want it to look like one coherent whole that sort of fits together instead of all these separate elements where you can clearly tell that like one person has done this one thing and the other person has done the other area.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we've sort of talked about like what we're planning to do with the general area, and we hope that, you know, having this wooden coaster with the boulevard of paths around it as well will give a good waterfront to the huts that Keralis already has, but also a pretty good entrance into what we're gonna build in the future of the park. Keralis came up with this really interesting idea that I suppose only he himself can talk about really well. It's kind of like a volcano kind of idea, isn't it?
yeah, it is. Like there's a park opening in Orlando, Universal Studios, I think, which is called Volcano Bay, which is a water park, and it looks absolutely incredible. So having a volcano somewhere integrated in the park is gonna be mind blowing.
Yeah, you showed us some pictures, and I really think this will fit our park so much. It's gonna look epic, I guess.
Oh
At
yeah.
least I
Volcano
hope.
Bay.
The thing that, you know, and I am so sorry for you guys, this is going to be torture for anyone to listen to, but the thing that I love about this is that it's a beautiful weenie. So anybody, most
and
people
your
probably know what
weenies.
no, yeah,
What's-
most
what's-
most
what
people
weenie?
probably know what I'm talking about. So Disney has this term.
No, it's a
For-
feature, right? Like a
Uh-huh.
A weenie is
like the
definitely a feature.
attraction. The top attraction.
Yeah, it's not that weenie. It's a different kind of feature. It's like Disney's term for a large structure which draws people toward a certain area, but it's also very iconic for like photos and stuff like that. Take for example the Disney Castle or the volcano that they designed for Volcano Bay, and it's that kind of idea which we want to put in this park because so far it doesn't really have a weenie yet. It doesn't have like one large sort of central recognizable structure.
It's got a lot of weenies, I guess.
I
but-
just love saying the word. That's one of the reasons why I
Yeah.
always use it.
Weenies and silverheads, I like.
It's a great relationship. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that'll be a really cool idea. It also
Yeah,
kind of
I like
reminded
that.
me, you know, speaking of real life parks, because Volcano Bay isn't here yet, but there's a bit of inspiration in the roller coaster from Gwazi, both in terms of the coaster itself as well as in the station. Gwazi being a wooden roller coaster in Busch Gardens Tampa, and it's not there anymore because it just wasn't a popular ride. It was extremely rough, but it was a beautiful ride, a dueling wooden coaster with a sort of similar theme and definitely similar looking buildings, so there's some inspiration to be drawn from it, which is pretty interesting. This one's definitely different, but it sort of carries the general vibes from Gwazi, and yeah, in that sense,
I
we
like,
just...
I like that you used that as an inspiration. It really looks awesome, the picture you
It
showed
is
us.
beautiful, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's a beautiful coaster, but apparently, like, riding it was torture. But
Was it?
yeah, it is great though to take like inspiration from these different parts of parks without, you know, copying anything, because that's just what it's mostly about.
Yeah.
And that aside, I don't know if we actually have any other future plans that are relevant to talk about at this point.
I think, well, some of us needs to work on the entrance as well. There is this open space.
True.
So, well, we need
That
to
will
work
come.
on
Don't stress
that.
about that.
No, I'm not stressing
Yeah,
at
that'll
all.
be fine.
We need to get the wiener up first, like the volcano. And that
Yeah,
would
the
be amazing.
weenie is so important.
Definitely.
We love the
Yeah,
weenies.
We need to
Sure.
erect the
Sure.
No.
Gonna erect a weenie in the middle
Be
of the
careful,
park.
Sylph. You want to be serious on your channel.
This is very
Yeah.
serious. This is
This is serious
professional theme
business.
park language.
Like,
Honestly,
if we don't direct the weenie, it's no.
It's a weenie.
Nobody's gonna be drawn to that area.
No
Nobody's
way.
gonna be drawn to our park. We need to erect the weenie.
Oh,
Exactly.
And our park is gonna lag so much if we're gonna make waterfalls at our weenie.
oh, that's nothing to worry about. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I don't think. See, this is what I mean. The dynamic water. It would be amazing for a feature like that.
True. Oh, and by the way, we also have the Christmas edition.
Ooh.
Video is
Yeah.
up. I
Mhm.
loved it. Have you guys seen it already?
Well, you've been talking about that for like a half an hour before we started recording. So I guess I know some of the
Did I
features that
really?
are gonna be included.
And
but,
for the record, this is recorded on Wednesday, so the update will be on Thursday. So we haven't played it while this video is
Mhm.
up.
we've
Yeah.
seen it.
Sure.
And I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be so amazing. I really love the snowy park and every feature they put into the gingerbread. Oh, I love it.
I'm
Is
just
there
happy that there's
gingerbread
snow.
animatronics, by the way?
Huh?
Is there gingerbread animatronics?
I don't know. I've seen animatronics,
Like
but not in gingerbread.
The gingerbread man just rang a bell. That would be amazing.
From Shrek.
Oh, I love that one. But maybe you can build it yourself. I'm not sure if we can, but I would love to try that.
I'm pretty sure that kind of thing will be possible.
Yeah.
But then again, I haven't actually checked it out. I just didn't have time for it. I heard that there are new flowers and stuff though, so that's the thing that I'm probably most hyped for. And
yeah,
snow,
the
of course.
flowers are amazing. And they added some stuff at the management part as well, which I really look forward to. Like small changes to change your shops and to how you say that? To if you raise no, I don't know how to explain.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I haven't seen the video yet.
But it's that you have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
3 chief beef.
Oh yeah, when you
shops
raise
in
the
your
prices,
park
that
and
the
you
prices
can-
are going to be the same throughout the park.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's...
and like the same counts for what addition you have, like ketchup or mayonnaise, like that kind of things. You can do it all at once for all your shops, and I really love that.
Yeah, it's a small addition, but it definitely fixes a
Yeah.
lot of frustrations. Did we ever talk about that the deal with the mayonnaise and the vinegar over fries?
But some people say like the mayonnaise is a very typical Dutch thing, but I don't think it is.
Definitely isn't.
No.
And I don't know if we
what?
ever talked about this, but there was a huge uproar within like the Dutch community when the fries just came out. There was no mayonnaise. Instead, you had to put vinegar over your fries, which is something that
Yeah.
only British people do, right? And it's crazy. Like, why would you put vinegar over your fries?
Yeah,
It's so
silly.
strange for the rest of the world.
Why
but then
destroy
again,
the food?
True.
you know, it's Britain and they want to be different in any way. So I kind of respect that. But then
But
I
still.
think it was like the massive push from the Dutch people were like, no, we need mayonnaise because just ketchup is not going to do it and we don't like vinegar. And eventually they gave in. They added mayonnaise into the game. And I think that's a wonderful story that very well illustrates the communication that the team of Frontier has with the community.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
It's a wonderful love-hate relationship. No, it's not that bad, but it's one of like, it's probably the most interesting case of adopting what the community has done into the game, even if it's such a small, simple thing.
Absolutely. But the community has a lot of influence, like the small changes they did with the shops and they did with the park management, with the staff. You can now easily see how happy your staff is, train your staff and that kind of stuff. So they listen to the community, and that is what I really, really love about Planet Coaster.
Okay, yeah, very, very true. I was trying to say you're starting to sound more like a PR person at this point, but you're definitely
What a sellout.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm amazed.
But
I'm
I just
amazed.
love Planet Coaster. I can't do anything about that.
It's a
for
pretty
me
nice
actually.
game.
It's been sort of hard to quantify the community interaction because they say it's been a huge thing. They even said, and you know, I don't want to boast about this because I have no idea like to what extent it is, but they even said that I had impact on like what they were doing with the game, like taking the scenery into another direction. But I've no idea how they did it exactly. It's just
Well,
kind of
you did some commentating about the coasters in Alpha 1.
I actually remember during Alpha 1 sending Ed a message that like small pieces in different kinds of shapes that are textureless, so you can like make your own stuff out of it, would be really useful, and somehow we have primitive art pieces, and I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, but it's pretty subtle, you know, you don't always get like direct signals of what they're changing in the game based on what people have been saying, but the only thing that I do sort of trust is very true is that they sort of need the player base of the game as well, because without the community, you know, it wouldn't have been the game that it is right now, and it would have been a worse game probably. So in a sense, Frontier developers are super thankful for the community players as well, which is something that is sort of like an underestimated point in the entire marketing scheme of they listen to the community and the game is so great. But it's that kind of thing which, to me at least, is something great. Not per se what they're adding into the game itself because of the community, but just the fact that they recognize it and that they're almost such a part of it.
Absolutely. And they love the game as well.
Yeah, of course.
But it's good to
They
have
were
stuff like
mentioning
that.
that on the stream.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. For me,
They
it's still weird because it's a game that I've been hoping for like many years of my life, but I was always too cynical to expect it. So I pretty much lost my shit when it was announced, and like right now I'm sort of like in the haze where I'm used to everything and it just seems normal, but every time I just kind of phase out and think, what if Planet Coaster was never a thing? What if Frontier never decided to get back to this genre? We'd be stuck with Rollercoaster Tycoon.
True. And would you ever grow this big this year?
Oh, you
No
would
way.
do.
I thank a lot to them.
Yeah. Dude, if you would just continue, like I was just saying, like I was a big SimCities fan when I was growing up, and the latest SimCity was such a disappointment.
Yeah.
And when City Skylines launched, I was like, never looked back on SimCity.
Exactly. True.
Is just like such a small company as well, like, you know, like Colossal Order, like, I mean, they had like what, 15 people working on the
Something
game?
like 20, yeah.
It's just insane how you can make a game that good.
Yeah.
It's just
totally
nuts.
agree
And the
on
same
that.
goes
Love
here.
that
Maybe
game.
well, the team is bigger, I guess, but you know, just having the community impact and community feedback and listen to the community what they want,
Yeah,
and
Well-
just
that is
make
so
a
important.
success.
What I think Lady was kind of talking about, and this is something that I cannot talk about enough because it's hard to thank them enough for it, is that Frontier kind of made me as a channel. Because back when I started playing Planet Coaster, I had like, 18,000 subscribers. And like every time my subscriber count has been like increasing so much, it's all thanks to Planet Coaster. And the fact that I was even discovered within the Planet Coaster community was all thanks to the fact that I was posted onto like the Facebook page of Planet Coaster. So I pretty much owe a lot of the success that my channel has to the guys at Frontier, not just for making this game, but for actually supporting me all the way through. So
Absolutely.
I think
Same
that's sort of
counts
what
for
you
me, but I'm not that big yet. But
True,
I
but
just started. at the 1st of
technically
April.
your numbers like increased 7,000-fold thanks to Planet Coaster.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I believe at this point the lady designer and Keralis have to leave, sadly.
Oh no way again!
Yes, I am
Why
sorry.
are you just throwing us away all the time? Like, I thought we were buddies, but no, I
No,
feel used. Okay.
I'm very sorry. I just have some business to attend.
Yeah, you're right. You have
No,
a
I don't.
serious channel. Go
Well,
work on your
Yeah,
it's
business.
not that
Serious
serious
channel.
anymore, but it's I'm gonna spend the rest of this video pretty much because we're forced to because of time constraints. A little bit about the coaster itself and more about the scenery, which is also quite nice, and what we're gonna put down here. So
Yeah, you do,
thank you guys
guys.
for watching so far. We're saying goodbye to the lady and Keralis at this point, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
Thank you again for having us. Bye bye.
Thanks, Sylv.
Alright, now I want to spend the little bit of the last time that I still have in this video to talk about what I've actually been doing in the time-lapse, because that's something that I still wanted to return to, because it's quite interesting actually. The wooden roller coaster, I originally started out making it as a GCI coaster, which is a particular kind of brand for those who don't know, which builds wooden roller coasters which are very twisty. You might kind of know them as the wooden twister roller coaster in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and they have these typical very twisty small trains as well, and that's the kind of coaster that I started out making it as. The only problem is that the game doesn't actually have any cars that correspond to this kind of coaster. Like nothing that really comes close whatsoever. There is one of the RMC tracks, which for some reason has cars from the company Gravity Group on them, which are classic wooden coaster cars, but then they're on the hybrid track, which is also kind of confusing. And basically, sort of just halfway through building the wooden coaster, I realized that there was no way to actually make this look like a GCI when I don't actually have the coaster trains that GCI coasters usually have. So instead, I actually figured, why not make this into a Gravity Group coaster, which is another company that makes wooden coasters. And especially in recent years, I feel that they've been starting to catch up on GCI. I've seen nearly all of the coasters which both companies have made. Gravity Group has mostly been active in China the last couple of years, but you might know them from Ravine Flyer, the second version, which is a really cool coaster. The Voyage in Holiday World, which is arguably the best coaster in the world, or at least best wooden coaster along with Boulder Dash, and just a lot of different good coasters. Also Switchback I think is really interesting, which is a wooden roller coaster which actually goes backwards as a sort of boomerang coaster, which is a very new and interesting concept. And GCI is a company which has been making more wooden roller coaster for a longer amount of time, but I feel like recently they have been sort of getting to the background a little bit. But anyway, what sort of differentiates them is not a lot that I could really think of. The only thing that makes them different on a very easy and clear-cut case is the fact that they use different cars, and so there are very typical cars for Gravity Group coasters that are called the Timberliners, or they just use the cars from Philadelphia Toboggan Company, whereas GCI just usually uses their own Millennium Flyer cars. And what I also kind of feel, and this is where the layout of the wooden coaster itself comes in, is that GCI coasters mostly just have very twisty tracks with a lot of curves, some heavy airtime ejector, but there's not much of it. It's mostly just very twisty, curving layouts. And Gravity Group, I feel, has a lot more going on in terms of large airtime hills. Large straight hills is something that you never see, or barely ever see on GCI coasters, which Gravity Group coasters definitely do have. Or a straight drop, for instance. And so if you kind of run through the coaster layouts, I feel like the first half is very GCI, and the second half is a bit more Gravity Group, even though it could be GCI as well, because the drop is definitely very GCI. It's very typically GCI wooden coaster to have a curving first drop like that. There's a similar drop on Ravine Flyer by Gravity Group, but I really started out the first half of the coaster as a GCI, sort of out and back inspired by a White Lightning sort of coaster. But it's very twisty at that point, and then sort of halfway through I decided that I wanted to switch it up and pretend that this is a Gravity Group wooden coaster with Philadelphia Toboggan Company trains. So I started making those more straight sections with the smaller hills, which I'm not entirely sure how well it really turned out. My biggest complaints about the ending part of the ride right now is that, for me at least, it feels there is still too much friction in the wooden roller coaster. Which means that the last part of the coaster is a lot slower than I sort of naturally figured out it would be. So really it loses a lot of speed at the end, and that's something that I'm not very happy with. So I might temper with that a little bit, make the ending a bit shorter. And that's really my biggest complaint. And I guess in general the layout does look like it could belong to either company in general. But generally I am actually pretty happy with how the layout turned out. One of my most important goals with this was to sort of create an out and back looking wooden roller coaster where you would sort of have the skyline of the wooden roller coaster from the lake, and just create something which could fit very well with the scenery which we have around here. And I think Keralis and the lady designer had the right idea in mind when they figured that a wooden coaster would be a good addition to the park, especially just because, you know, the way that a wooden coaster looks. It's just super charming and awesome. And that's why I wanted to put this in here, and that's also why it's sort of this mixture between very twisty sort of layout, but at the same time, you know, being kind of out and back in having this sort of skyline to it. And when it comes to the station, I was actually a little bit inspired by Gwazi. There is not a lot to go off on when it comes to this theme. In real life, this theme is a lot less interesting, I would almost say. It's a lot less detailed and intricate than many concept arts or fantasy kind of versions of it would make you believe. So there's not a lot of real life reference to be found on this. Not that I wanted to base it on real life references in any case. I'm mostly actually inspired by the stuff that I've been doing in Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 with similar kinds of themes for years. But my main sort of inspiration with the coaster station, and that was a weird rhyming, came from Gwazi actually, which is a coaster which has since been taken down, but we talked about it in the video a little bit. And it's also a GCI dueling wooden roller coaster, which has a station which looks very similar to this, and I sort of got the roof shape from it as well in a sense, very Polynesian sort of style. And it has the same thing going on in having an almost very standard wooden roller coaster station and transfer track, because these wooden roller coasters do usually have very similar looking just wooden stations and transfer track roofs. But adding a little twist to it in the sense of the thatched tropical roofs, and that's something which I found very interesting. And in this case, I'm taking it one step further. For Gwazi, it was really just one facade of a tropical like entrance, and for the rest of the building, it was just simple wood. But in this case, I wanted to make the entire station thatched and true to the theme that we have right here. So we have the basic sort of shape for the station done there, and the transfer track is more or less sort of following the same theme. It's a very simple thing, so I didn't want to get too much into theming the transfer track, but I definitely wanted to make sure that it doesn't break the theme of the rest of the ride. And also, of course, gives a pretty good head start to where the lady designer is going to work, because of course she's going to have to pick up my mess and make something out of it. So that is pretty much what I wanted to do over here, and that also just about concludes the time lapse. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the lady designers video next time.